The area was just demolished, utter devastation. You couldn't believe that something like that had happened.
The severe weather that started it all.
But the weather of spring can be unpredictable. And Sunday, April 11, 1965, was a spring day.
The first tornado outbreak captured through our cameras in Toledo, WTOL 11 was there.
Things aren't any different anywhere in the 3 states surrounding us. Travelers advisories are up for Ohio, for Indiana, for Michigan, in fact, for the 6 states that surround us. So nothing is moving much anywhere.
Most say there will never be another blizzard of 78.
This is where the plant is dying because this is all dry.
The summer of 88 was agonizing, long, hot, and dry. Heat records from that year still stand to this day.
But in a flash, the fury of nature returned one afternoon, just 4 years later.
The destruction at Anthony Wayne High School in White House shows the sheer power of a tornado.
By the time the water was basically up to my neck, we said that's enough, it's time to get out.
No relief for Findlay, now 10 years removed from the city's worst flood.
Then, in the darkness of a June night, 2010.
Guys, I just got this handed to me. Lake Township, Lemoyne area in 795, a confirmed tornado.
Multiple home reports leveled in Fulton County.
Spring, fall, and again last August, we were shown the time of the year doesn't matter. Northwest Ohio was on alert once again.
He said, "It's a tornado." And I just said, "In the bathroom now."
Hot, cold, sunny, stormy, scary. The weather brings us together. We talk about it all the time. It brings joy, it brings hardship, it makes memories. We're going to be interactive today and ask you to share your memories. So keep your tablets and your phones handy. Now come on, let's meet the First Alert Storm Team. Ryan Weekman, you've been a driving force behind our weather app from day one.
Simply put, the First Alert weather app is the most sophisticated weather app in the Toledo market. Over 80,000 people use it on average for their daily forecast. How easy is it to download? Well, if you're on your iPad or your tablet, you can click the App Store, click WTOL Weather. It's a free download, very simple. Probably the best part about it is it's not some computer that's states away that's making the forecast. We do it right here in the First Alert Weather Center, community by community and hour by hour.
It's true. We update this every day and we put our personal touch on it. It's like carrying our First Alert Weather Team right there in your pocket with you. In fact, let's head right over to Chris Vickers. He's preparing a video to send over to you.
Yeah, guys, this is the part where it gets fun and a little bit interactive. So I'm going to encourage you at home as well to pull up that First Alert Weather app, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how we do it and how we provide that great information. So back here in the First Alert Weather Center, we give you the immediate information that you need to know on a daily basis. A day like today, a First Alert Day, a perfect example of this one. We give you the content that you need to plan your day. Our hour-by-hour data exclusively from the First Alert Weather Team that is put out there on the First Alert Weather app. We keep this information immediate and we keep it relevant to how it is going to be impacting you. It is one click away. You open up the First Alert Weather app, you get all the great information on how the weather is going to be changing. So where to find this information? That's the simple part, and meteorologist Ellen Fritz, she's going to join me and show you exactly where you can find it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. When you go onto the First Alert Weather app, on your homepage, everything you need to know about the weather right here for you. You check this right at the top. Those are those video updates that Chris was just telling you about. You scroll through the homepage, that radar where we're seeing that wintry mix right now, your exclusive hour by hour 10-day details. That's all right here on the main screen. And as you continue a little bit farther down, yeah, we give you even more exclusive content. And tonight, we're going to give you the first peek of our newest First Alert Weather Team member, Defender.
They warned us. The storm was coming.
Some isolated showers and storms are popping up now here in Northwest Ohio.
They are our first line of defense.
Look at this storm now.
We're seeing frequent lightning right now.
And after they've issued the first alert,
all you're going to see is rain, 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 rain.
They'll now have more resources.
This is potentially catastrophic weather
to keep us ahead of the storm.
There was a report that a storm spotter had seen a funnel cloud.
Now we have something to defend us all.
and I just see this big rotating cloud of darkness. So then we just gather up what we had in our hands and we ran to the bathroom.
This past August, a nearly 3-year-long stretch without a tornado touching down in our area came to an abrupt end.
This is not a storm to mess around with whatsoever. We have a confirmed report now of a tornado northwest of Defiance right there.
My instincts were my arms flew out to cover the top of the kids, and then the roof got sucked off.
6 tornadoes touched down on August 24th, 3 in Henry County alone. Warnings came out on the First Alert Weather app and gave residents time to prepare.
This has caused damage, it has destroyed mobile homes, and this is a tornado that is confirmed on the ground.
Just knowing that I have that app makes me feel a lot more comfortable because I can make sure that my wife and kids are someplace where they need to be. Telling people to get out of mobile homes is extremely important. A lot of people don't worry about it because we don't have this happen here very often.
You heard the app mentioned right there in that story. You know, those directly affected by those storms from last August, they're going to remember that for a lifetime. And for many, it brought back memories of 2010. And Chris, you have some more about that day for us.
Yeah, you know, June 5th and 6th of 2010 is a day that I will never forget, and many people's lives were changed forever on this particular date. It was an outbreak of tornadoes, a half a dozen tornadoes that impacted southeast Michigan and northwest Ohio. The strongest, most devastating tornado, which was catastrophic, was the Lake Township Millbury tornado. You probably remember those images of Lake High School destroyed. School buses that were empty, fortunately, were tumbled across the fields, and the destruction across Main Street in Millbury. This was an EF4 tornado, winds to 175 miles per hour, and in about 10 short minutes, this tornado claimed 5 lives as it was on the ground for 8 miles. Unbelievable destruction and devastation, and totaled over $100 million in damage.
Now, Chris, I was there with you that night. You got out to Main Street in Millbury?
The next day, it was very surreal. You and I were walking down Main Street, and we said, this looks like a scene out of Oklahoma. Never did we think that we would see something like that here in Northwest Ohio.
And while it might not be as recent as 2010, let's not forget the tornado outbreak that really set the benchmark for severe weather here across Northwest Ohio, and that would be right here, the Palm Sunday tornado outbreak in 1965. Think about this. There was a tornado on the ground within the city limits of Toledo for over 6 miles. That was also rated an F4, and it killed 44 people in our viewing area. To put that into perspective, you add every other tornado since 1965, not as many people have been killed. It's really incredible.
Yeah, and Palm Sunday, that's kind of a big day for severe weather season around here. It happened, yeah, in 1965 you're talking about, but it also happened a little bit farther back in 1920, another tornado outbreak. So that's kind of crazy. It's a day that everyone remembers for more than one reason.
You said 1920.
Yeah.
So now you know our team does their research.
Yeah.
1920.
Absolutely.
How about the drought summer, 1988? In June, we had 20 straight days here without a single drop of rain. On top of that, the temperature hit 104 degrees, and we had 43 90-degree days. The stress on the farming community.
Robert, when we think severe weather, though, you think tornadoes and floods. What makes the drought so severe?
The drought was just so incredible because it was right in the heart of the growing season, and the water just completely shut off. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. But when we talk about major weather events, major storms, you can't leave out winter weather, and something that all of us can remember, even look back to, a benchmark of storms, the blizzard of 1978. And to kind of set the picture for this, it basically shut down multiple states, including ours. Toledo at a standstill. We had almost a 24-hour period, complete whiteout, blizzard conditions. 20 feet snow drifts, homes were almost buried in. Wow. The city pretty much shut down schools, some out for 3 weeks at a time. It was a major storm that we still look at today.
Some of us might recently remember the winter of 2014 with 86 inches of snowfall, but Ellen, no storm stands to the blizzard of 1970.
I still think about that and wonder how people today would react to a storm of that magnitude. It would really test us. Now, there are plenty of honorable mentions, but we narrowed the most memorable weather events down to these 4.
This is our opinion. We want to hear from you now.
It's on the WTOL 11 Facebook page. We are listening as we speak to your vote, so log on to Facebook. Let us know what you think the most memorable weather event is in history.
And we'll share the results before 6 p.m. tonight.
Plus, it's almost here. The countdown is on. Just look at the bottom of your screen there. You'll see soon the newest member of the First Alert Weather Team is about to be revealed.
Yeah, and after the break, Chris is back. What will this severe weather season bring? He has all the answers.
Tonight's First Alert Weather Special driven by YarkAuto.com.
We talk all types of weather, but most people agree tornadoes are the biggest weather threat here. They're just scary. In order to feel a sense of security now, some people have come up with myths, and I'm here to bust those myths. Tornadoes never hit in the city. Myth, Palm Sunday, 1965. A twin tornado struck right in Toledo, and it killed 18 people, including 5 on a bus on what is now I-75. A tornado will not move in off the lake. Myth. June 1988, a massive supercell storm with a tornado moves onshore from the north, taking down transmission lines and shutting down Davis-Besse nuclear power plant. 14 people were injured. A tornado will not cross a river or a bay. Myth. June 1977, a tornado touched down in Sandusky and crossed the bay into Cedar Point. Scary situation, damaging Camper Village and injuring 9 people. There's no way around it. Tornadoes are a fact of life in Ohio and Michigan. Chris, this is the time of the year people get nervous.
Yeah, those were in the spring season. Robert, you've had experience, so tornadoes can happen absolutely any time of the year, though.
Of course, another outbreak comes to mind, the November tornadoes that hit Van Wert and various communities, including Port Clinton.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, severe storms are going to be the focus of safety this spring and summer. Lightning, flash floodings, tornadoes, they all pose deadly threats. But would you be prepared for a windstorm that could leave you without power for days? June 29th, 2012. Under the sweltering summer heat, a colossal complex of thunderstorms exploded into a massive windstorm known as a derecho. Stretching for hundreds of miles and raging for hours, this storm ravaged dozens of communities in northwest Ohio, leaving billions in damage and thousands without power for days and weeks. Would you be prepared for a windstorm like this? Conditions this year may prove more favorable for damaging winds. This summer, no doubt, will bring sweltering summer heat. We do believe that will focus across the nation's midsection, and if that does materialize, that will open up a corridor from the northern plains into the Great Lakes with thunderstorms with the greater threat of damaging winds. Our statistics show this. Since the 1950s, there's been over 400 reports of tornadoes right here in this area, with over 9,000 reports of damaging winds. That makes damaging winds 22 times more likely that you would experience that. A perfect example of it was the derecho of June 29, 2012. Storms with damaging winds, 70 to 90 miles per hour, roared across northwest Ohio and southern Michigan, resulting in power outages for days and even weeks for some. Damaging straight-line winds can and do exceed that of weaker tornadoes and typically impact a much greater area. This makes the threat of wind damage more likely, a threat you need to be prepared for. Now, details on why this summer poses a greater threat of damaging winds and what you should have in your severe weather emergency preparedness kit can also be found right there on the First Alert Weather app. Well, the countdown is on, just over 10 minutes away from the Defender. Here's a sneak peek.
They warned us the storm was coming. They are our first line of defense. And after they issue the first alert, they'll now have more resources to keep us ahead of the storm. Now we have something to defend us all.
Well, it's been 10 years since Findlay was underwater, and we're taking a look at what is being done right now to prevent it from happening again. Plus, Ryan, you're talking tornadoes again.
That's right. Hard to believe. 25 years ago, Ohio's largest tornado outbreak struck right here. We're looking at the video and the impact in our area. Stay tuned. And don't forget, we want to hear from you. Right now, there's still time to vote on our WTOL 11 Facebook page for your most memorable weather event right now.
Thanks for staying with us. And when it comes to severe weather safety, you always hear, go to the basement or the lowest lying area of your home. Well, that's absolutely true, but what if you find yourself in a different situation?
If you live in an apartment, the second floor or higher is unsafe. If in a tall building, get to the lowest floor. In a complex, go to the clubhouse or leasing office. The easiest way to find out what you should do? Contact your landlord for the severe weather safety plan.
Well, what happens if you find yourself on the roadway during a tornado threat? Well, that answer is a bit more complicated.
Ideally, you should drive to a sturdy building and take shelter. But if that isn't an option, it comes down to a judgment call. May that be to drive away from the storm or moving into the closest ditch or low-lying area. Now, one of the most dangerous places to be during a tornado warning is in a mobile home. The best advice I can give for this situation is to prepare to be inconvenienced. Waiting for a tornado warning will be too late. If there's a severe weather threat for that day or evening, be prepared to spend what could be hours inside of a sturdy building out waiting the storm.
And Robert, you've talked with families after they've been devastated by tornado damage.
Ellen, I remember one storm in particular. Mom, dad, 4 kids. They ran from their beds to the basement just in time. And you know what they told me they missed more than anything?
Shoes.
That's right. They weren't hurt. But leaving the house quickly, they had to step over broken glass, debris, right in the middle of the night with no shoes on.
Absolutely. So a better way to prepare for this, instead of tossing out those old pair of sneakers, just put them in a bin and put them in your basement to prepare for that later on.
Simple step.
Absolutely. And Ryan, it has proven time and time again that tornadoes can strike any day or night.
That's exactly right. Great safety tips there, both Robert and Ellen. And when it comes to tornadoes, we often think of spring, you know, May, June, April, but the largest tornado outbreak in Ohio history, it didn't strike in any of these months. It started with a single twister, ended as the all-time record-setting single tornado outbreak for Ohio. And today, those communities like White House and Pettisville, Perrysburg and Graytown haven't soon forgotten.
It just looked like a giant hand coming out of the sky. There was just 3 of them within like 100 yards, 200 yards of each other.
All told, over 40 tornadoes touched down in Ohio on July 12, 1992.
The people here, the house destroyed, they're all right, they're cut.
These scenes from Anthony Wayne High School proved the most memorable. Over $200,000 in damage sustained. WTOL 11 took to the air 25 years ago to follow that afternoon of destruction. Tornadoes skipped along a path from Fulton County to Lake Erie. July proves time and again to be one of the biggest severe weather months in Northwest Ohio. The heat and humidity are already in place. All it takes is a spark.
You're just minutes away from the reveal of the Defender. Meanwhile, we'll continue on. Downtown Findlay underwater. 2007 brought some of the worst flooding to the region in nearly a century. Now, another such flood would be like lightning striking twice. John Monk takes a look back at the Findlay flood.
For 3 days in August of 2007, after a massive rainfall, the waters of the Blanchard River rose. Downtown Findlay was all but cut in half. 20 local fire departments ran 200 rescue missions, and hundreds had to leave their homes for safety.
And we seen the water coming up over the curb, and it was coming up so fast that we only had 20 minutes to get out.
The millions of dollars in damages caused the city and Hancock County to begin a flood mitigation plan. After years of working with the Army Corps of Engineers, the flood study became a local project between the two. And now, 10 years later, the gears are finally starting to turn in beginning the construction process that is expected to lower the 100-year flood levels in downtown Findlay. The planning process for a benching project has received approval and construction could begin this year. But until the work is complete, leaders are confident if a similar flood does occur, that they are ready.
I think we've improved the way that we communicate to our residents. We're definitely more disaster resistant than we were when we first started this process.
In Findlay, I'm John Monk, WTOL 11.
Time for a look at our poll of most memorable weather events. Are you surprised? We aren't. People talk about it every winter. Every single person who lived through that storm has a story to tell, and we have not seen anything like it since. Not even close, right? It is blizzard of 78.
Yeah, we weren't surprised. We kind of knew that going in, that would be a lead.
And still time to log on and cast your votes.
Absolutely. Go ahead and share that as well and let your family members and friends know how you voted.
Yeah, please do. Don't go away now. You're about to see the newest member of our First Alert weather team. It's right after the break.
Tonight's First Alert weather special driven by YarkAuto.com.
I've been chief meteorologist here at WTOL for 22 years now, and our First Alert weather team right now with Chris, Ryan, and Ellen is the best I could ask for. They're sharp, dedicated, and yes, they get excited about the weather. And they're also excited to introduce you to the newest member of our team, the Defender. Chris, this vehicle should have no trouble getting to any kind of weather.
My goodness, and Robert, we're going to be taking this vehicle. You will see it in your community this summer and this spring as we track severe weather season. 280 horsepower under the hood, 35-inch wheels, an all-terrain vehicle. No problem getting this vehicle wherever it needs to go. It also comes with so much more equipment. And joining me to show us that, Ellen Fritz.
Absolutely. We have a swiveling camera that can show you all the angles inside of a storm. We have a weather station right here on top, moment by moment weather, and we can go live anywhere at any time inside of Defender. But that's not the only kind of bonuses we have with this guy.
Yeah, one of our favorite things to do every year is go to school visits. Take a look on the inside of this as I open up the trunk and see what we have on the inside. Very cool. This is going to be interactive. We're going to go out to these school visits, encourage the kids math and science. We have new tools now to share our love with weather with the community. This is unlike anything else we've ever seen. Chris explained the engine. Ellen, the technology, put it all together. This is the most advanced weather tool in Toledo.
I told you they get excited about the weather. We're all excited about it. I'm going to tell you, be looking for Defender in your neighborhood, in your town, in your community, any time of the year, summer, winter. And speaking of that, with a little wintry weather coming in tonight.
For sure, tonight.
Yes, we're going to send Defender out here in just a couple of minutes, and you'll see us out live here coming up during the 6th. Stay with us.